Hi, I'm Tansy Leary, certified professional dog trainer and owner of Dog Crazy Lady. This video is troubleshooting the hand target, and it's a follow-up to our hand target video for beginner dogs and puppies learning how to do hand target for the first time. It's intended to help you out if it didn't quite go just as smoothly as you hoped. There are some common mistakes that new trainers make, or sometimes even experienced trainers. A few of them are starting with your hand a little too far away from the dog's nose. There's no magic number. I always try to set the dog up for success by starting with just a 2-inch distance between the dog's nose and my hand, but you can certainly try something a little larger, and if you're wrong, you can try again. 2 inches is a good place to start though, because you can always add more space. Another common mistake is to hold food in your treat hand and also hold out your target hand at the same time. And of course, the dog is going to look at the handful of treats, not at the empty target hand. So you need to either hide that treat hand behind your back, stick it in your pocket, or leave your treats in a container on an adjacent table or counter. The other thing that I see a lot is something wrong with positioning of the hand. Either people are trying to help by touching the dog's nose for him, maybe not even on that repetition, but at some previous repetitions. So now the dog is a little worried and backing off of a hand, or people are holding the hand with the fingers pointing up in the air a little bit, so it looks like a wait or a stop sign backing off. Sometimes it's just a poor cue, and I talked about this a little bit in the other video, where maybe in the dog's life someone's taught shake or paw, so the dog is making a mistake and offering something else. Some dogs even mistake the hand held up as a lie down cue, because maybe the person who does their down cue holds their hand a certain way and the dog is just offering the wrong thing. So just observe your body. Have someone video you or stand in front of a mirror if you're not sure what you look like. So now you've reviewed whether your technique needs a tweak and everything seems fine. So what the heck do you do? I don't want you to try to correct your dog or use any words because your dog does not speak English. And some people will tell you you should use what's called a no reward marker, some sort of oops, or some phrase that says you missed out on your treat. I don't really go along with that train of thought, because it's sort of the same as if you went to your worst subject in school and the teacher called on you, or maybe you raised your hand for the first time and you were trying and got it wrong, and the teacher went, wrong, something like that. You just don't really need that feedback. Simply the fact that you got it wrong is usually enough. The lack of a reward to the dog is enough information for the dog. So you don't need to say anything. You simply take your hand back out away. I tend to take my hand behind my back. My co-trainer Lori tends to bring her hand up high to her chest, and we just pause briefly for a second. Then we bring our hand back for another attempt at that 2-inch mark. Try again. If your dog still doesn't do it, I won't usually try more than 3 times without reevaluating. And we'll talk about that more in the next slide. But what's going through my mind at this point is the dog probably either just doesn't understand what to do yet, or maybe the dog is a little nervous about people's hands near his face.
Good. 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 Good boy. Good.
Now, let's say you're really doing it right and your dog is just not touching your hand at all. I'm going to try to be a little more engaging at this point. I'm going to turn my back on my dog. And now I say this to people all the time, and I see them back away from their dog, still facing their dog. I mean, actually turn my back. And I'm going to walk away with a little bounce in my step. I might even jog if I have enough room, but I'm going to be a little bouncy and fun. Most dogs are going to follow me at this point. And now I'm going to hold my hand out as a target, my back is still turned and my palm is facing the dog. So that means the palm is facing behind me. So I haven't done anything weird to my arm. I've simply moved away and I've got my arm hanging at my side. My palm is facing the dog. And I'll have a video of that in the next slide so that you can see it. If that still didn't work, I'm going to rub something smelly in my palm like a hot dog. I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to really encourage the dog to want to sniff my palm. And if that still doesn't work, I'm going to wonder if my body's a little threatening. I'm going to make my body a little sideways. I'm going to avoid eye contact. I may even sit down into a chair and try to target that way.
Good.
What if you have done all of these things? It's still not working. The other things I'm considering as this is all happening, is there any distraction in the room? Are there things moving around, people moving around, toys on the floor, smells in the room? Is there anything else happening? Am I paying well? Is the food that I'm using as a reward really interesting? And I will tell you, I have this conversation all the time where I will say, I want you to get high value food, meat and cheese. And people will go buy a training treat. And I'm not going to pick on Zooks, but I'm going to pick on Zooks. It's one that people buy all the time because it's a great little training reward, but it's not meat or cheese. So I actually mean meat or cheese, deli meat, chicken, string cheese, stuff like that. You need to pay really well. Keep your sessions short. If you're trying to work for 20, 30 minutes, your dog doesn't feel like it anymore, maybe he's bored. Little tiny 2-minute sessions are just fine when you're starting out or if you have a young dog. Also, try again later. Maybe he doesn't feel well. Maybe he's tired. Maybe it hurts his body to move in a certain way because of something you did yesterday, or maybe he tweaked something. Maybe he's older. Always think about how your dog feels. I think dogs probably get headaches. Maybe they just don't feel like it once in a while, just like we don't feel like it. So unless you're running into consistent lack of effort, I would just try another day. If you are running into consistent lack of effort, that's when you want to consider getting a competent trainer to help you out. So what if you have a different problem? Not that your dog won't touch your hand, but that your dog is touching your hand with his tongue, just licking and licking and licking. One, you can go wash your hands really thoroughly to try to get any food smell off your hands and see if that fixes things. I find that it doesn't always, and it's just that the dog tends to be a puppy who wants to lick. So what I do instead is I just hold my hand a little bit differently, and instead of holding my hand right in front of the dog's nose, I hold it a little higher and a little bit flatter so that the dog's nose is almost parallel to my hand and he has to lift his nose up to hit it instead of coming forward to hit it. And it would be really, really hard to get the tongue there first. I also make sure I'm not rewarding those licks because sometimes people want their dog to succeed so much. They're saying good and feeding the dog after the dog has licked. So anything that you're reinforcing, you're going to get more of. So if you're getting whiskers or lips from the muzzle or licks, don't reward those unless maybe you have a pug or a flat-faced breed that just can't reach with the nose no matter how hard he tries.
Good. Good.
Okay, so that should help you with troubleshooting. If there's anything we missed, just visit our website, dogcrazylady.com, and shoot us an email. But also check out our follow-up video on our YouTube channel, Adding Challenge, to figure out how to make this a more difficult game and add a verbal cue.